Hello everyone, Giltar here with an action figure review. This time we'll be looking at the Thrilling 30 Generations Deluxe Class Bumblebee toy. Now Bumblebee here was released in the summer of 2013, and the manufacturer's suggested retail price is between $12 to $15 in North America. Now depending on which version of the toy you buy, you may or may not receive a pack-in comic book by IDW, which is made for the Thrilling 30 campaign's comic book storyline. Now I bought mine from Canadian Toys R Us, so this particular toy that I bought did not include the comic book. Now starting off with the alternate vehicle mode, Bumblebee is an amalgamation of various features inspired by both real-world and fictitious car designs. This results in a very stylized muscle car that is actually quite reminiscent of the Camaro design used for Bumblebee in the live-action Transformers movies. And here are the accessories, which are called Stinger blasters according to the text on the packaging. They can be used individually as guns or blaster pistols, I suppose, or be combined into a larger single cannon. In alternate vehicle mode, they fit into a pair of 5mm ports positioned on either side of the rear section of the vehicle. In robot mode, they can be put into the hands, which are 5mm peg compatible. And here we have robot mode. This Bumblebee toy is based upon the IDW character design specifically drawn by Guido Guidi in issue 21 of the ongoing Transformers IDW comic books. Now for those who haven't read the IDW comics of Transformers, the appearance of Bumblebee for some time varied greatly depending on which artist drew the character. After a while, I believe this was the design that basically the company settled on, and this is, I believe, the current official appearance of Bumblebee in the comic books. Now the articulation starts up at the neck with a swivel joint. We have hinges and swivels at the shoulders, swivels above the elbows as well as hinged ratcheted elbows, ball jointed hips, swivels at the upper thighs, hinged knees, ball joints above the ankles, and hinged ankles. Now let's move on to my final thoughts for this toy. Now with respect to aesthetics, this is definitely a toy that is geared towards fans of the IDW Bumblebee design, or those who prefer the live-action Transformers movie design style. For fans of the classic generation Bumblebee design, like myself, now with respect to the aesthetics of the toy design, it's definitely something that is geared towards IDW fans. Again, this is a design based off of the IDW Bumblebee design, and this is also something that I believe is fairly significantly influenced by the live-action movie design aesthetics. So, unless you're a fan of either, again, the IDW comics or the movie designs, this may not be a toy for you, especially for those fans of the classic Generation 1 Bumblebee design, such as myself. What I think of when I think of Bumblebee, I think of a shorter, chubbier type of character, and that's something that I associate with the name Bumblebee. This is a more modern take. It has a dynamic set of proportions, it has a more athletic look, and basically it's a more typically heroic design appearance. Some fans of Generation Bumblebee, well, they probably won't like this at all, and other fans may simply like it because it's Bumblebee. Now the alternate mode, to be honest, is my preferred mode. I really like the look of the muscle car design. I especially like the look of the aggressive front end of the car. Now the accessories, they honestly don't make much sense to me. I've read the IDW comics up till date, and I don't recall seeing the weapons showing up with Bumblebee in any of the artwork. As toys, they're a bit bulky for my tastes. However, I can appreciate the visual impact of these larger looking weapons, and I really do like the combination functionality of allowing these two single weapons to be put into a larger sort of blaster cannon form. The articulation on paper is impressive. However, the implementation of the joint design leaves results that have a lot to be desired. What we end up with seeing in the toy is basically ranges of articulation being somewhat limited despite having multiple points of articulation. For example, the ankles, despite having a ball joint above the ankle and having a jointed ankle itself, really can't do much more than move back and forward. There's also a curious omission of wrist joints, which I don't see the reason for. Simple swivel joints could have been easily and cheaply implemented. On a final note on articulation, the shoulder joints on the toy, both mine as well as others, seem to be on the loose side, and an issue with that is that it interferes with posing the arms. Unless you're really deliberate and careful in how you position the parts, the arms are going to droop due to gravity within seconds. And the problem is even worse when you try to put the stinger blasters in the hands. Now the sculpt of the toy I think is great, though there are some issues with a lack of paint application, specifically in robot mode. The paint applications in alt mode are fine, but in robot mode, the many sculpted details that we see, I can say at least, really just fade into the sea of yellow plastic that dominates this toy's construction. At a glance, one could say that Bumblebee in robot mode looks plain or boring. Now another issue with paint application is that the yellow paint put onto the forearms as well as the stinger blasters, they don't cover up the color of the plastic beneath, and this ends up making the toy seem a little more cheap looking, simply because of the way that the yellow is turned almost into a greenish yellow due to the bleed through of the color. Now with respect to the functionality of the toy, in alt mode, it's great. It's a solid toy car that any kid should enjoy playing around with in the sandbox or in the backyard. For collectors, it really looks nice on your display shelf. However, in robot mode, the looseness of certain joints, especially the shoulders for example, really make the toy seem a little flimsier and fragile than it is. For kids, it may not be a great play experience just because it feels like the toy could break at any given moment if you're not really careful with handling it. For collectors like myself, it does interfere with posing and display potential simply because you kind of have to work with the really loose nature of the shoulders to get a decent pose out of it. Overall, I can only recommend this toy to truly die-hard fans of Bumblebee. Especially ones that are not opposed to the idea of a more modern Bumblebee design that is definitely influenced by the live-action movies. At regular, retail pricing, it is a hard sell for me personally. I only bought mine on discount during a recent sale, and to be frank, I think I might be a little disappointed if I had to pay full price for this. Overall, it's a good toy that is, well, held back by numerous small issues that individually would not mean too much, but simply because of all of them working together in this particular product, it really weighs down what could otherwise be a very, very good toy. So as usual, thank you very much for watching. I hope you guys have a great day, and I'll see you at the next video.